Breaking. US warplanes increase patrols near Venezuela as military tensions rise in the Caribbean. It's 9:40 a.m. over the Caribbean Sea. The water looks calm, the sky is clear, but the tension is already there. Without warning, two US Navy F-18 Super Hornets tear across the Gulf of Venezuela at high speed. The sound arrives before the sight, a deep roar that rolls across the coast and rattles windows miles away. There is no radio call, no public notice, no explanation, just noise. Inside a Venezuelan coastal radar station, the first alert flashes. Two fast-moving tracks appear on the screen, flying tight and steady. An operator leans forward. The symbols shift. Green turns yellow. Yellow turns red. These jets are not passing through. They are circling. Minute after minute, the fighters hold a closed orbit over the Gulf. Same altitude, same spacing, same direction. In the command room, no one speaks at first. Then a quiet voice cuts through the air. They're doing this on purpose. Sirens begin to sound along the coast. Phones start ringing. Orders move quickly, but voices stay controlled. No one wants to overreact, because everyone in that room understands what this moment means. Either the jets turn away, or this situation moves one step closer to something far more dangerous. What happened over the Gulf of Venezuela was not random, and it was not a mistake. That stretch of water sits close to major cities, oil routes, and air bases. Every radar along the coast watches it day and night. Every military planner in the region understands that if control is tested here, the response will be fast and emotional. That is why this moment matters. From Washington's view, these flights take place over international airspace. From Caracas, the same sky is treated as sovereign territory that has been challenged for decades. That difference alone is enough to turn a routine patrol into a political crisis. On board the US Navy carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, the mission was logged as a standard training flight, but the conditions tell a different story. The jets launched with real weapons. Support aircraft were already positioned. No public notice was given. This was not about practice. It was about presence. For the pilots, the job was clear. Hold altitude. Keep formation. Do not react. Stay calm no matter what appears on the radar or comes over the radio. They were not there to provoke a fight, but they were there to show they would not leave easily. On the ground in Venezuela, the picture looked very different. Radar crews were forced to make fast judgments with limited information. Air defense teams had to prepare for the worst without triggering it. Every second the jets stayed overhead added pressure. Every pass felt personal. This is where tension lives, not in explosions, but in restraint. When two sides both believe they are right, the smallest move can become a turning point. If you're watching this and asking yourself who pushed first, press 1 if you think the US was sending a message, or press 9 if you believe Venezuela had no choice but to respond, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. Because once aircraft enter this kind of space, there are only two outcomes. They leave quietly, or something forces them to stay. The first reaction does not start with sirens or fighter jets. It starts with silence. Inside a Venezuelan coastal radar station, one operator notices something off. The tracks are too clean, too steady. Civilian aircraft do not fly like this. He zooms in. The return sharpens instead of fading. That is the moment he knows these are military jets. He flags the contact. Within seconds, the room changes. Chairs scrape back. Phones light up. Another screen confirms the same two tracks. Same speed, same orbit, no deviation, no reply to open radio calls. This is real. The alert level goes up. Radar stations along the coast begin sharing data. The same symbols appear again and again, looping in a perfect pattern over the Gulf. Each pass feels closer than the last, even though the distance barely changes. At an inland airbase, pilots are woken up without explanation. They pull on flight suits, grab helmets, and run. No speeches, no questions. Engines start while the air is still heavy with heat. Two Su-30 fighters roll toward the runway. Back over the water, the US Navy jets stay exactly where they are. They do not climb. They do not turn. They do not speed up. From the control room, a senior officer watches the screen. The icons shift color again as air defense systems begin tracking. Green becomes yellow. Yellow becomes red. Fire control radars do not lock yet, but they are ready. Every decision now matters. If the Venezuelan jets launch too aggressively, it could force a response. If they hesitate too long, it could look like weakness. No one wants to be responsible for crossing the line, but no one wants to ignore it either. The room stays quiet except for the low hum of equipment. Sweat runs down backs. Eyes do not leave the screens. Every second feels heavier than the last. No one blinks when the tracks refresh again. Still there, still circling, as if daring someone to make the next move. Above them all, the two Super Hornets continue their orbit, calm and disciplined, as if nothing has changed. But everything has. Because once the first response begins, there is no way to rewind the clock. Every move from here on out will be judged, replayed, and remembered. And both sides know it. The situation tightens without a single shot being fired. On radar screens across the Venezuelan coast, the two contacts remain exactly where they have been for nearly an hour. Same pattern, same spacing, same calm precision. Operators begin switching tracking modes, narrowing filters, trying to cut through the growing noise on their displays. Every update confirms the same reality. The US jets are still there, and they are not drifting away. Along the shoreline, air defense crews move into position. Power systems hum louder. Consoles glow brighter. Missiles remain cold, but ready. At this stage, preparation alone sends a signal. Everyone understands that once these systems go fully active, it becomes much harder to step back. Inside the command room, a quiet order is passed from one station to the next. Track only. Do not engage. Do not provoke. Those words sound simple, but in moments like this, they demand discipline. Because with every completed orbit by the Super Hornets, the pressure rises. The distance to land feels shorter. The sky feels tighter. What looked manageable 10 minutes ago now feels unstable. No one wants to say it out loud, but everyone senses how thin the margin has become. Above the water, the US jets make a small adjustment, a slight change in altitude, a subtle correction in spacing. It is not aggressive, but it is deliberate. In close military encounters, even minor changes carry weight. Everyone watching notices. Then the radar picture begins to change. Returns are still visible, but no longer clean. Faint echoes appear where nothing should be. Tracks hesitate, then refresh. Operators exchange quick looks. This is not weather. This is not equipment trouble. This is electronic interference. The meaning is unmistakable. The US is no longer just present in the air. It is shaping what can be seen and what cannot. Inside the room, tension turns physical. Backs stiffen, hands hover near switches. Breathing slows as every update lands harder than the last. One wrong move here could force a reaction that no one can take back. And this is the most dangerous phase of all. Not combat, but escalation without contact, where both sides are active, alert, and waiting for the other to blink. If you were sitting in that room, watching those tracks refuse to leave, press 1 if you believe restraint is the right call. Or press 9 if you think strength must be shown before control slips away, and stay with us. Because escalation is no longer a warning. It is already unfolding. And the next decision will shape everything that comes after. What neither side sees at first is the shift happening just beyond the main picture. The radar still shows the two Super Hornets, but something feels different. The timing between updates changes. The pattern looks the same, yet the confidence behind it starts to fade. Operators adjust settings again, trying to stabilize the image. It helps for a moment, then the noise returns. This is not an accident. Support aircraft outside the immediate area begin working quietly, bending signals, pushing interference into narrow bands. The goal is not to blind everything. It is to test how much pressure the system can take before it starts making mistakes. For a few seconds, one of the US jets fades from a Venezuelan screen. Not gone, just unclear. Then it snaps back into place. A technician shakes his head and refreshes the display. The data no longer feels solid. Inside the command room, someone says it out loud. They're measuring us. That realization changes everything. This is no longer about presence alone. It is about information. What reacts first? What hesitates? What breaks under stress? Above the Gulf, the Super Hornets continue their calm orbit. The pilots do not know exactly how the ground picture looks, but they can sense the shift through their instruments. The space around them feels lighter, less crowded, less predictable. This is the quiet twist in the story. The moment when both sides realize they are not just watching each other, they are being studied. If this is a test, the question becomes simple. Press 1 if you think the US was right to push this far, or press 9 if you believe Venezuela was right to stand firm and stay with us. Because once a test begins, it rarely ends where it started. And the next phase is where tension turns into risk. The peak arrives without warning. On radar screens along the Venezuelan coast, the two tracks shift just enough to trigger a system alert. Not a sharp turn, not a sudden dive, just a subtle change in angle that pushes the situation closer to the line everyone has been watching for nearly an hour. The symbols flash, colors change, conversations stop mid-sentence. In one command room, an officer leans forward, another raises a hand. Everyone understands what this moment represents. This is the narrow window where control can be lost. Fire control radars begin to illuminate, not to launch weapons, but to confirm what the eyes are already seeing. Distance updates every second. Speed remains steady. The numbers tighten into a range where reaction time shrinks fast. Above the Gulf of Venezuela, the Super Hornets feel the change immediately. Warning indicators flicker across the displays, then stabilize. The pilots remain calm. They do not break formation. They do not accelerate. One short radio call cuts through the cockpit. Maintain course. On the ground, air defense crews are locked in position. Fingers hover inches from switches they have trained for years not to touch unless ordered. Breathing slows, muscles tense. The silence in the room feels heavy. Then the electronic noise spikes again. Radar screens fill with clutter. Ghost returns overlap real tracks. Some echoes jump forward, others freeze in place. Operators call out confirmations, trying to separate truth from distortion. For a few seconds, nothing looks certain. Those seconds stretch. 3, 5, 10. This is the edge. A single wrong input could turn tracking into targeting, and targeting into something no one can take back. Then the pressure begins to ease. The interference drops just enough for the picture to clear. The real tracks sharpen again. This time, the change is obvious. The two Super Hornets begin to turn north. No flares, no sudden burst of speed, just a controlled shift away from the line. Below, shoulders drop, hands move away from consoles. The immediate danger passes, but the weight of the moment does not. Because everyone watching knows the same thing. This was not about training anymore. It was a decision made under pressure. When the radar tracks finally fade, the sky over the Gulf of Venezuela looks calm again. The water returns to its steady rhythm. But across the region, the tension does not disappear. Within minutes, quiet reports begin to surface. Commercial pilots nearby log brief navigation issues. Ships in the Gulf report short signal disruptions. Online, flight data screenshots spread faster than any official statement. Washington responds first with careful wording. The flight is described as routine training in international airspace. No violation, no incident. The goal is clear: cool the moment. Caracas answers with a sharper tone. Officials call the flight a provocation and a test of sovereignty. Air defense units remain on alert long after the jets are gone. Crews are told to stay ready. No stand down. The truth sits somewhere between both versions. No shots were fired, no aircraft were damaged. No lives were lost, but every system involved was tested. Every response was measured. Every hesitation was noted. Both sides gained information without crossing the line into open conflict. That is the real result. Encounters like this do not end when aircraft turn away. They continue in planning rooms, shaping future decisions and future risks. Each side now understands more about how the other reacts under pressure. If you believe this was a clear warning sent by the US, press 1. If you think Venezuela was right to stand firm and prepare to respond, press 9. And make sure you're subscribed. Because this encounter ended without a single shot fired. The next one may not.